right? Sorry about that. We good? Okay. Yes?
I was reading a verse, 1 Corinthians 5. And,
what does it say? That was funny. That was good. That was good, man. What does it say? Go ahead. 1 Corinthians 5. Very good.
Doesn't it say something that we should, that one day we will be judging angels or something like that, so how can we not pick someone amongst ourselves that can judge?
Okay, you're referring to 1 Corinthians 6, verses 2 and 3, and it's something unrelated. Okay? Because the judgment that he talks about is a little bit different. But follow up your point. By the way, my fingers are numb. Is that okay? Like, is that normal? Any doctors here? I have numb fingers. Okay? All right, go ahead. Doctor, am I okay? All right, go ahead. Yes. Yeah, no, that's okay. Because do they have the magnetic thing? Get with the times, bro. Just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah. All right, you're out of luck. You have the answer? Go ahead.
It talks about how you can't judge someone outside, but
You guys, you sound so retarded. So you're right, but say it with authority, please. Pull it out. 1 Corinthians 5:12. 1 Corinthians 5:12. Someone else pull up Matthew 7. Matthew 7.
but what have I to do with judging those also who are outside?
Wait, speak loud, clear. Who's saying this? St. Paul. What is he saying?
For what have I to do with judging those also who are outside? Do you not judge those who are inside? But those who are outside, God judges. Therefore, put away from yourselves the evil person.
Okay. So he is saying to judge. But let's go to Matthew 7. I think you have it. Matthew 7. Who has Matthew 7? Go ahead. The judging other section. I think it's 24. What's that? It's also verse 1? Maybe it's verse 1 then. Go ahead.
Judge not that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you.
Stop again. Say it again now. Listen closely. Most misinterpreted verse, one of the most misinterpreted verses in the Bible. Go ahead.
Judge not that you be not judged.
Okay, judge not lest you be judged. Okay? Don't judge, because if you judge, you're going to be judged. So does that mean that if I don't judge, I won't be judged? But I thought God was going to judge me. I thought God was going to judge everybody. So if I don't judge, that means God will not judge me? So then on Judgment Day, everyone's going to get judged except for me? Listen, this is conversations that we have with people. So is that what it means? Well, if you continue reading, you can understand what he means by that. Because right now it appears that the scriptures are contradictory. One verse is saying, judge those who are inside, not those who are outside. God judges those who are outside. 1 Corinthians 5. Now we're reading, judge not, lest you be judged. Sounds like an inconsistency. Sounds like a contradiction. What does he mean? Follow through.
For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you.
Okay, keep going. So, what that's kind of saying is, the measure that you use to judge someone, that same measure will be used to judge you, but it still doesn't fully answer the question. Keep going.
And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is in your eye? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye.
Love it. Stop right there. Stop right there. There is one word in there that's describing the type of judgment. What type of judgment should we not do? Because the answer to our question is, yes, we are supposed to hold each other accountable. Yes, I am supposed to look and to judge my brother. I am. Yes, I am. Believe it or not. I am supposed to judge you. You are supposed to judge me. But it's righteous judgment. Because in John chapter 7, we read the difference between hypocritical judgment and righteous judgment. And there's a difference. Because the Bible is not contradictory. The Bible is consistent. But there's different types of judgment. And we have to discern within ourselves, what type of judgment am I bringing towards my brother? Is it the hypocritical type of judgment, or is it the righteous judgment? And I want to talk a little bit about the hypocritical type of judgment. Because unfortunately, this is the judgment that we oftentimes fall into. I mean, this is the type of judgment, guys, where people will leave the church for good. People in high school will receive judgment, have a nice life. I am never coming back to that hellhole, is what they call it. They call the house of God hell. Because the people in the house of God make me feel like I am not worthy. And people have left the church, and until now, from when I was in junior high school, are struggling internally with this huge dilemma. It's a problem. It hurts. It's rough, especially when you're young. And because of my insecurities and my sin, it was so easy for me to cast judgment on someone. And I don't see that guy again. I don't see him again. But because of my sin, because of my hypocritical judgment, because of my unrighteous judgment, someone has left the church. And then, the scary part is knowing that one day I will be judged in the same respect that I judged. And this is something, guys, that do not take it lightly. Honestly, we're not in the business of putting sins in categories and stages and so on and so forth, okay? But if I commit adultery, okay, sometimes, believe it or not, that's not as bad as when I judge someone. Because my adulterous sin, while it condemns me and it affects the other person, may not completely eliminate this person from the church. Judgment, however, can kill someone's spiritual life forever. I know people now, guys, one thing I have that most of you don't is the fact that I was born and raised in this church. Born and raised. When Hannah baptized me. This is how old I am. I'm 33. 33 years of my life spent in Queens County. I'm a loser. I never lived a day outside of Queens. I used to say it with pride, and then I realized that I know nothing about anything else outside of Queens, so I keep my mouth shut. But the point is, I have seen with my eyes people who used to come and then found me in Manhattan, and I run into him or her, and I try to start the conversation. It's the most awkward conversation because this person has associated me with her. And he wants no part. And that's hypocritical judgment. See, it's so interesting because Jesus Christ, guys, let me tell you, as a lawyer, he is so good in his words. Okay? The way he analogizes and gives you the point so clearly, via parable, via story, via what have you. He's so persuasive, and he does it here too. Can you reread what you just read for us?
Starting from the beginning?
Yes.
Judge not that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use...
But it almost sounds like you're rapping, so just slow down a little bit. It's okay. No, it's all right. I'm just, go ahead.
Judge not that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you.
Keep going. This is the part. Pay attention. This is the best part of the verse. Go ahead.
And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye?
Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye and do not see what?
The plank in your
The plank. What's a plank? It's a huge piece of wood. Can a huge piece of wood fit in your eye? No. So what does it mean when he calls it a plank? Why is it considered a plank? Why? Huh? It's a big sin, but you know what? This piece of wood is closer to me, so it's supposed to be bigger to me than the speck that's in my brother's eye, but for some reason, I look past the plank and I look at the speck. And that's the problem. What is the plank and the speck made of? It's wood. It's the same thing. It's both made of wood. Oftentimes, guys, it's the same sin. So why am I, a person who sins the same way as this person, why do I so easily judge the one in front of me when I myself should worry about the plank, the sin that's in my life, which is going to condemn me more than his sin might condemn him? Right? There's a reason why he's using the same material in my eye and in your eye. Because we're suffering from the same thing. You guys have all heard the saying, it takes one to know one, right? That's so true. That's so true. You know how many times I'm standing somewhere and someone tells me, he goes, you see that guy right there? He's a thief. How do you know he's a thief? Because he's a thief! A thief knows a thief! You see that guy right there? He's high. How do you know he's high? Believe me, I know he's high. How do you know he's high? Because I know he's high. Because one time when I was younger, he tells me I was high, and I could tell that he's high. That guy right there is about to rob somebody. How do you know? Because I robbed him. I robbed somebody before. A person who sins knows and can recognize sin in another person. And so it's very easy for me, and just think about all the people that we judge. Think about all of the labels that we like to put on people. Yani, it's so bad, guys, it becomes something automatic. Automatic keda. Adulterer, drug addict, alcoholic. Person walks into the church, puts him in a category in my mind. Right there. This person, yeah, I know his past. This person, I know where she's been. This person, this is the hypocritical judgment. Because this person, I may know of a relationship that this person was in, yet the lust that I live in my life and the pornography that I view, for some reason, is not a plank in my eye. No. No, pornography is better than actually having a relationship with somebody. Right? I mean, I'm better than this person. Yet at the same time, my condemnation is going to be so much worse than this person's. Maybe. F.B. Myers once said, before you make a judgment, think of three things. Think of three things. Before you pass judgment on somebody, think of three things. Number one, ask yourself and tell yourself, I don't know how much this person has been fighting this sin. Number one. Number two, I don't know the circumstances that this person is in. And I don't know what the level of force is attacking him. This person may be stronger spiritually than me and is getting hit so much harder than I am. And number three, ask yourself, if I was in this person's situation, what would I have done? Would I have been better, the same, worse? Chances are, guys, let's be honest with each other, chances are if I've reached the level of just categorizing people and judging people, I would have probably felt much worse. We don't know what other people are going through. This is hypocritical judgment. This is the judgment that hurts. This is the judgment that kills. This is the judgment that will take people out of Christianity, away from Christ, and would kill me spiritually. Can you imagine if Jesus Christ was like that? See, now this is the righteous judgment now. When the adulterous woman was brought out, caught in adultery, and grabbed by her hair and by her clothes, she's caught in the act, it says in the gospel. And she's brought out and she's thrown onto the ground, and they're picking up stones and they're ready to stone her. That's it. They're casting judgment. They caught her in the act. This isn't gossip. She's a sinner. She's caught. The punishment of that is what? To be stoned. But when Christ comes, did he know that she sinned? Yes. Does he think it's wrong? Yes. Can you imagine if you had the personality and the willpower and the love of Jesus Christ? Why do you think Christ's fame spread throughout so fast? So fast. Who is this guy? He loves. He forgives. He attracts who? The sinners. Aren't we supposed to attract the sinners? Aren't we supposed to be the guy and the girl who people want to come to confess to? You're supposed to be that guy, that girl. The one with the heart where someone is so insecure and overwhelmed and feels judgment and feels horrible. The only person I can go to is her. Because I know when I go to her, she's going to accept me. She's going to love me. She's going to forgive me. She's not going to judge me. She's going to lift me up. She's going to cover my sin. We have to be that guy. We have to be that girl. We have to be known as that guy and that girl. We have to be recognized as the one who will be the one who people go to in their worst time. This is Christ. That's Jesus. You have to ask yourself the difference between the judgment that's spoken about in Matthew 7 and the judgment that's spoken about in John 7. I believe it's John 7:24. Righteous judgment. Where are your eyes? Where is your heart? Where is your mind? The worst part, guys, is to remember that it takes one to know one. Yani, this is the worst part. Yani, if I see a homeless man on the street, guys, I'm not going to judge him. I'm not. You know why? Because he's homeless. I feel bad for him, genuinely. But if it's something else, I might not. I might judge quickly. You know why? Because it takes one to know one. Because the plank and the speck. And so Christ very specifically says, take the plank out of your eye. Now you see, if we were not supposed to judge at all, the scripture would end there. He would say, take the plank out of your eye and walk away. But what does he say? He says, take the plank out of your eye so that you can what? See clearly and then do what? And then go and remove the speck. Yes. Yes. Judge. Yes. It's okay. But righteous judgment, loving judgment, caring judgment. Listen, I love you. You're killing yourself. What you're doing is wrong. Righteous judgment. But a person knows if the judgment is coming from the right place or not. Now here's a test. The test is to think about the people in your life, in this church, and then we're going to get into the people that are outside the church. Okay? But think about the people in the church right now that you know. They might be sitting in the same room as you. But deep down, you know that they know what you think of them. Like how sad that we were in the same building, in the same room, possibly, and there's someone sitting a few seats away from me who knows what I think of him. And after the meeting, I'm going to get up and I might even go say hi to them. But I know that they know what I know about them. And you know what? It doesn't bother me that they know that I'm judging them. That's the worst. That's the worst. Talking about lifting each other up. You know, when we talk about the inside of the heart and the purity inside of the heart, ask yourself, guys, this is so, touches so home. And yes, this is baby conversation. We've heard this before. But we have to make it personal. We have to make it real. And now think of the people outside. And I'm not talking about Coptic Christians outside. Because let's read 1 Corinthians chapter 5. And because he talks about how you deal with people in the church and how you deal with people outside the church. And it almost sounds like it's different for a second. Can you read it? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral.
I'm sorry, Mina, can you speak up so that everyone can hear?
I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral people. Yet I certainly did not mean sexually immoral people of this world, or covetous, or sorcerers, or idolaters. Since then you would need to go out of the world. But now I have written to you not to keep company with anyone named a brother, who is sexually immoral, or covetous, or an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, or an extortioner.
Stop right there. I'm sorry, even what?
Not even
Okay, that's important. Sorry to cut you off. You didn't have to give me like the look of death. I didn't know that. I forgot that was the end of the verse. That was the next verse, okay? Talk about not judging. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let me ask you guys a question. I think some of you guys want to kick me out saying this guy doesn't know what the heck he's talking about, because here we just read a verse where it says, don't even sit and eat with someone who's in the church. But sure, at least I'm saying hi to a guy that I can't stand and don't like and judge constantly. I'm a Christian, I'm giving him a hug. Yeah, he knows that I think that he's this, and that, but it's okay. At least I'm like sitting with him. What does this verse mean? It sounds contradictory. What does it mean? What is he saying? Put it in your own words, Mina.
It says, the people that are outside, you're going to be forced to deal with them on a day-to-day basis, so you can't escape them, but escape from the ones who are living here.
Escape from the ones who are, what does he mean? What do you mean escape from, doesn't that don't take the speck, what? First you tell me to remove the plank, and then take the speck. Now you're telling me not to sit with him. The Bible does not contradict itself, guys. So let's open our minds and ask ourselves, what does he mean by this? I think I have frostbite. Just for the record, doctor, I have frostbite. No, it's okay. It's okay. Just remember I'm a lawyer, and this is, just remember that. Go ahead. No.
It's empty, by the way.
I know, I'm sure it is. Sure it is. What does he mean? Yes.
Evil company corrupts good habits.
What's that?
Evil company corrupts good habits.
Evil company corrupts good habits. Excellent. This is one. Excellent. Elaborate on that. Someone else elaborate on Mike's point. He said bad company corrupts good manners.
You're gonna judge them to decide that they are bad company, right? You're gonna judge them and say they are bad company.
Or you might be like that. You might change and become.
Say again. Speak up.
Or you might change and become like that.
You might change and become like. Excellent. Excellent. This is good. Yes.
But if it's evil, what you said exactly, evil company corrupts good manners.
Right.
If that's the case, then you shouldn't stay near evil.
Then you shouldn't stay near either who.
Yeah, because he's saying to avoid the brother who is like that, and then he's saying you can't escape from the ones outside, so you can deal with them, but that you would stay away from both.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. This is good. Good. Striking some conversation here. Sparking some talk. Go ahead.
He's also writing to they're like in early church, they're just starting out, so he's kind of saying if there's like someone coming up like in the church and acting a certain way, that's not really how you guys should do things. So like be careful to separate that.
Okay. Excellent to put things in context. Okay, very good. All right, but you're right, and it also applies to today. Okay? It also applies to today. How many people are here? Oh, go ahead, Habib. I'm sorry.
I guess he means like don't associate yourself with those people, because like if you keep company with them, you're gonna people are gonna recognize you one day as one compatible with them.
Okay.
Because like you are who your friends are.
Okay, very good. I like that and I don't like that. Let me tell you why I like it, and then let me tell you why I don't like it. I like it because it's true, and it oftentimes happens, and we become associated or kind of branded with the people we hang with. And I've seen it just in my job. A good kid is hanging around with bad kids, and they end up doing something bad, and they all get arrested. And then when I'm interviewing, the good kid, or I realize he's a really good kid. He was just in bad circumstances. So I like that. True. The thing that I don't agree with, to some extent, is the fact that our Lord Jesus Christ sat with tax collectors and sinners, and was judged, and loved it, and did it for a reason. So you're right, but I just wanted to give you both perspectives. Yes.
I was going to say, the only thing I think, in my opinion, is, especially at the time of Christ sat with them, but he wasn't best friends with them. So I think there's a big distinction between these are the people that I go to and trust, or I sit with these people because I love them and I know they're in bad place. So.
Excellent.
Wait, I just kind of a question on Mina's thing, because they said to him, I think, who is this guy who's sitting with tax collectors and sinners, how dare he, kind of thing, or what? And he didn't ever respond negatively to that. So he never kind of shut down the idea that he was.
I don't think it's negative to sit with them, but I think for the person that I confided to be a drunkard or an adulterer, it'll be inevitable that I'll take that aspect from him. I don't think it's possible to be best friends with someone who lives that lifestyle and not
be taken away from church.
Okay?
I'm confused because he makes a distinction. He says, I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral people, yet I did not mean the sexually immoral people of this world. And then he compares that to anyone named a brother who is sexually immoral. What's the difference?
Okay. Did anyone answer that before I do? Go ahead.
I think that's what Mina said. She said the outside versus inside, because it said, don't associate with these people, otherwise, or don't not associate with these people, otherwise you'd have to leave the world.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm gonna follow up with that because that brings us into the most important point and it answers the question that we have before us. Okay. What he's saying is exactly what Mina just said, which is when I talk about the sexually immoral people, okay, I wasn't talking about the sexually immoral people of the world, which is kind of what Mina was talking about. You're going to run into them. You're going to see them. In fact, those people, believe it or not, are not going to be as much of a danger to you as the people who are sitting in the church, who are living in sin, except they know the power of Jesus. And that's the point, guys. That's the point. Because people who are outside, he actually says, talk to them. I mean, St. Paul says, to the Jew, be a Jew. To the Greek, be a Greek. I am to everyone what they are. So that I can relate to them and do what? Speak in their tongue so that they can what? So they could see the glory of God, so they could see Christ, so they could feel Christ, so they could know Christ, so they could taste Christ. Okay? But believe it or not, guys, oftentimes we trick our parents into thinking, I'm hanging out with Fulan, who from the Kanisa, so on and so forth, and I'm going out with this person, and in your mom's eyes, this person is, in the hip every week, and so on and so forth. Yet this person is dragging all of the friends down, for example. Okay? This person is more dangerous than someone outside. Why? Because we've all read and heard the story about the lukewarm versus the cold versus the hot. Why is it worse to be lukewarm? Because the person who's lukewarm is what? He's living in both worlds. He's living outside and he knows the power of Christ, but he's refusing to go to the power of Christ. He wants to live in the outside world. And you have to ask yourself, who is this person in my life? But a person who's cold doesn't know who Christ is. I can come in and I can let him taste Christ. And if he tastes Christ, he might explode. He might come back. Very simple and basic stuff, guys. Okay? But I just want to tell you something because, again, growing up in this church, I've seen a lot of things. And one of the things I've seen, believe it or not, is this verse go into play. In other words, I actually saw people who started coming to the church when I was in my teens. But they weren't following. They were poisoning. And poisoning. And poisoning. To the point where the church had to
Exclusive.
Yes. And they were almost excommunicated, to be honest. And we got up and we went nuts. These are our friends. How dare you guys do that? This is a church. You're supposed to welcome everyone. You're supposed to include everyone. They were here and they were coming. And we made their lives miserable, the elders of the church, for a long time. For a long time. But what I didn't know was the elders of the church from time to time would go and make sure to visit these people. But they couldn't have them in the church. Why? We couldn't even eat with them, as the verse says. Why? Because one bad apple in a pile of apples will corrupt all of the apples. And sure enough, guys, one of them has done a lot of jail time. He got into guns. He started carrying a gun. Then at one point he was in a drive-by and he pulled out and he shot and thank God he missed. But they were able to identify him and he did a long, long stint in jail. And guess what? Now he came out and he's trying to come back to God. But the point is what? You see, by us excluding him, Christ never what? Never left him. But how many other people may have been in that car in that drive-by from the church who may have ended up doing time? Did everybody see that? This is real life stuff, guys. I'm bringing you real life stuff from this church, from here. And for those people who who never came to this church before, and are sitting here now, are probably like, all right, let's get out of here right now. I'm completely kidding. This is a long time ago. We're great people, okay? All right. Don't worry about it. You don't even know them. They're no longer, okay? I was one of them. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, all right. So yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you know how like we talk about don't judge. So most people will be like, all right, I'm not going to judge. I'm just not going to care. It's none of my business, kind of thing. Is it more of a sin to just back up and be like, it's not my business and not care, or is it more of a sin? I mean, it's kind of an objective question, just to.
Yeah.
It's a very good question.
It's a good question. It's a tough question because there are so many different variables that play into it. Are you capable? Are you strong enough? How close are you? Is someone else taking control within the church?
But is it a sin to say I don't care?
Yes.
Like not my business. Let them do what they want.
Yes, I think it is because it is your business. Yes.
You have a responsibility. Like, your responsibility should not be to the level of I'm being dragged with them, because that's dangerous. That applies to the verse that the corrupt people will. But you should care. Like, not to the level of okay, I'm gonna do whatever they're doing because I care about them and I don't want to leave them. There should be a difference between, I care about them, like, and I'm not going to join them with what they're doing. And a lot of times, we do care to the extent that we do what they're doing. And that's dangerous.
Can I ask him a question? If you were the only one in the church, I don't think you would feel that way. I don't think that would be an option. If you were the only one, like the only other member of the congregation, which obviously would never be, I don't think that would be an option for you. In other words, I think you would feel obligated to do something. But because we're in a church where there are so many elders, we kind of just responsibility. And I think that's a major problem, guys, honestly, in the church. Everyone thinks that someone else is going to take care of it. And they teach you, when I was working in a gym, they taught us all CPR, right? Of course. I don't remember any of it now, so may God help you if something goes bad. But, Heimlich, the whole nine. Actually, one quick story, because it's like the only story where I'm proud of, okay? I was teaching Sunday school with Sheher. And we were having those, it wasn't regular Urban. I always forget the name of the one with the date inside. What is it? Fatir, yeah. And so he's eating a fatir. And he gets, this is a complete side, I don't know why I'm bringing this up right now. He's eating the fatir, and we're teaching Sunday school. And he's a head servant, I'm a little guy. And he starts choking on the fatir. I'm not kidding. And he reaches out to me. And he's like, I kid you not, ask him. Every time I see him now, I'll tell you what he says. And so I'm the next guy in line, I'm the older one of the. So I jump behind this guy, and I'm like, and everyone's just sitting there and this piece of fatir comes flying out of his mouth, and but I keep going, and everyone's like, enough, there can't be more fatir in there. And until today, I kid you not, and I didn't learn that in my class. Until today, he comes and he hugs me. He's like, "You saved my life." Every time he sees me, it makes me feel good. Do I get a round? Thanks. Thank you. Did they catch that on the stream? All right. Now seriously, what I was going to say about the CPR thing is this. The whole shifting responsibility. He was like, "What a loser." I'm going to answer your question. What they teach you is when someone is choking or when someone is, never ever say, "Someone call 911." You guys have heard this before, I'm sure. Why? Because everyone's going to be like,
Someone else will do it.
exactly. You have to point someone out. Say, you in the black coat, you with the yellow hat, you call 911. Because then that guy's going to be like, he's got to call 911. He can't, can't shift this. And that's exactly what we do here, guys. We just kind of say someone will. Someone will. And that's why I say, if you're the only person, if I'm the only person, I will feel that responsibility because no one else can call 911. Does everybody understand that? So I think what Uncle Dr. Samir said is very important, is that we have to take responsibility to some extent for our brothers. We have to learn to care. We have to teach ourselves to learn to start caring, because we don't. It's such a big church. There's so many people. There's got to be something in effect here that takes care of this. And I speak to myself when I say that. Really, it's not really to you. It's to myself. Yeah.
I think I understand what he's saying, but you honestly do have to be careful. Sometimes, for example, say I stop drinking, but my friends still drink. The devil has a way of convincing you that you're strong enough to pull everyone out. But what will end up happening is you're going to go and then you fall back in. So I think it's always best to go with somebody who that drinking may not be their weakness, to help your group of friends or serve.
I completely agree with you, although I'm not sure that in the circumstances that he was talking about, he was deeply entrenched with the group.
No, I'm just saying in general, in any
I completely agree with you. I think there are many different levels of your involvement and availability. Yeah, go ahead.
I was actually agreeing with what he was saying, and also, if you try, basically, when you take the plank out of your eye, it doesn't mean that everybody else is ready to take the plank out of theirs. If you present that you did it yourself and you can help them get out of it, and you could just end up giving them more problems. Like, you can get into an argument with them, they can end up cursing you out. So you just made them sin even more.
Right.
You're not helping, you're making the situation worse.
Okay. Right. Very good, guys. Yeah.
I have a question, because I get your extreme example of putting people out, like crime and murder, but on a more practical level, to what extent do you say okay, this person's not doing the right thing, so or I'm not doing the right thing, I'm probably a bad influence, I should maybe
I'm not sure I understand your question.
because you gave the extreme example of putting somebody outside or putting somebody away from yourself. That's you gave an extreme example. But what about I understand for personally, if we're that bad influence, yeah, we work on ourselves, that kind of thing. But what about our friends that are bad influences on us? But to what extent is it that I should not be with this person, or I should,
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of that? I mean, guys, this is as practical as it gets, and I think it affects all ages, everywhere, including me and the people that are around me at work. And I think that's a very important question. I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? What is Christ calling on us to do? What is he calling on us to do? Pose the question in a more understandable fashion.
So the last sentence says therefore put away from yourselves the evil person. It's in the church, we're talking about within the church. So to what extent of, because he gave the extreme example of this guy was a whatever criminal and they put him away. But to at a practical level in the church, you know what I mean? I'm just putting this up for debate.
I think it's a great question. Yeah, go ahead. Well, I didn't hear from Mike yet. Sorry, and then I'll come back to you.
To answer his question, I think where you draw the line is when the person has no desire to turn away from whatever he's doing. He's enjoying it. There's no way he's going to change. He loves doing whatever he's doing.
But what if I enjoy what he's doing too? I think without saying it, that might have been what the question was. Because I think that affects us all.
Yeah. I want to add something. So if you know how to save the person, that's fine. But if you don't know, please keep away and call 911. Go to someone above you. Because if you don't know, you know the sequence is going to be more worse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an excellent point. If you don't know how to swim, obviously you can't save someone who's drowning, which I think is the point. Yes, very good.
I think it also, nowadays, the word friend is thrown out so easily. According to Facebook, I have thousands of friends. But it's really, there's levels to it. If you're gonna become more surrounded with their lifestyle, then that's when you have to make the separation. It should really be, you should hang out with them if they're gonna be more in your lifestyle that's trying to help them out of theirs. So you shouldn't dive into who you can't swim against.
All right.
Bring them.
It's a very good point. This is an important topic, guys, but I'm just letting you know that it's 10 o'clock and I've developed, I think, a minor case of pneumonia. Are we done? Yes, all right.
I want to say.
Oh, please, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I just want to say a couple of things. Back to Mina's question, I think this person, and Bishoy answered this, by the way. The example that he gave, I lived this, by the way. When someone is in the church and bringing drugs into the church to sell it to the people that we are caring for, no. That's not accepting, that's not, it's okay, that's not we're gonna lose him. No, because if we're not gonna lose him, we're gonna lose 40 people. So when someone in the church is corrupting the church, that's a no. Yeah, and Bishoy spoke about, I lived the example that Bishoy gave, by the way. Yeah, I was physically there. But that's a no. But at the same time, I think Bishoy explained it very well. You work with this person outside of the church. That's the responsibility of the church. Because the church has a responsibility toward the group and toward that person who's corrupting the group. That's number one. Number two, what's the attitude of Jesus toward Rami say is doing something wrong? And that's the issue today. Okay? Jesus was never, okay, bravo, Habibi, you're doing great. No. He's going to go to Rami because he loves him very much and tell Rami, and I'm going to go to Rami, not I, Samir. I just a regular friend. I'm going to go to Rami and tell him, Rami, because I love you very much, what you're doing is hurting yourself. And that's actually the main definition of love, is to care about the person. Love is not you agree with whatever the person is doing but love is that you care about the person. You go to Rami, what you are doing is wrong, is not right, because you are hurting yourself. Christ's attitude was never, it's okay. And the example that Bishoy gave, this adulterous woman, he never told her it's okay. Don't worry about that, Habibti, I love you. No. Don't do it again. I don't judge you, but don't do it again. So Christ was never agreeable with what is wrong. Like he never hated the person. And because he loved the person, he goes to the person and tell him, don't do that anymore, because that's going to hurt you. And that's again the ultimate love, is to tell someone, your friend, what you're doing is wrong. That's love. That's not judgment. That's love. And you will never stay away from that person unless you're going to be like that. You cannot be like that. Okay? Like telling Rami, Habibi, what you're doing is wrong, that's not judgment. That's love. Because you love the person and the person is hurting himself, that's, you go and tell him, Habibi, what you're doing is not right. I don't know if you call that righteous judgment or what, like it's the whole attitude. How you are saying that? What kind of attitude you are having when you say, Habibi, what you're doing is wrong? Oh, I don't believe that good friendship means everything goes. That's not what the Bible says. For Christ, not everything goes. Christ loved, and we spoke about this 100 times, he loved unconditionally. But with sin, he was never okay with sin. And that's again the differentiation between the person and what he's doing. I love you unconditionally. Like what you're doing is wrong. That's the challenge in those times.
But the way of telling it.
Of course, there are, It's a very interesting topic. I think it's
very practical
very
too.
Practical and so there is no confusion.
If I could just to reiterate, I think the most important part of the entire discussion today is not what we were speaking about at the end, but really what we were speaking about in the beginning, when we spoke about being Christ-like in judgment. That's the point, Yani. Be the one, the only one. Everyone should be the only one that people want to go to. I'm a sinner. I'm insecure. I know I'm wrong. I'm struggling. I'm suffering. I hate judgment. I hate walking into the church. I feel people are staring at me, but I'm going to walk into the church. There's one person who I can confide in, and I'm going to go to them. And we should be that person. We have to be Christ, so that they can see Christ. Okay? That's the most important point, guys. And it's something that we all struggle with. It's something that we all have to work on. But we have to cleanse, purify ourselves. I think Titus says, for those who are pure in heart, everything they see is what? Is pure. We have to reach that point where we're so pure, where we just see purity. So it doesn't matter what the sin is. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Come and talk to me. It's okay, I'm not judging you. Don't worry, we'll get through it. Don't worry, I'll direct you to where you need to go. You can come to me, you can talk to me. Because Christ loves you, who am I not to? This is the point that we have to take home. Okay?
Who doesn't have a sin? I mean, if I'm going to judge someone, I have also hundreds of things to be judged for. I think the message is very clear, guys, and that's very important. We need to learn to love and accept the person, because I need love, I need acceptance. Okay? If the person is doing wrong, out of love, I can tell him. If my relationship with him allows me to do that, I'll go and tell him, Habibi, you're hurting yourself. And that's what the church is. We need to learn to accept and love each other unconditionally. I insist on that. It's not only God's love is unconditional for us, we have to love people unconditionally, regardless of what they're doing. That doesn't mean that what they're doing is correct or is right. No, what you're doing is wrong, but I still love you. That's the challenge. That's not easy, guys. And that's the challenge, I'm sure, for Abuna, because he knows all our sins. The challenge is, no, he still loves me and accepts me the same way as if he doesn't know anything about me. That's what we need to do with each other. Like, and at the same time, Abuna is not going to tell you, oh, bravo, continue in what you're doing because I love you. No. He's going to tell you what you're doing is not right. Thank you, Bishoy. Guys, I'm so happy. I thought I'm going to be here by myself. I don't know, in this kind of weather.